one. Aidan Tack is on Not the Daniel Strohman podcast.
Not
the Daniel Strohman podcast. I don't know if... All right, so if you're listening, I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it just started raining. It just started raining really hard, actually, and there's a tornado watch. But Aidan is still here. He still showed up.
I'm committed.
Despite the weather.
Don't care.
Don't care. It would be so fun. We were talking about before how funny it would be if a tornado struck while we were doing the podcast. Yeah. Here, are you nervous at all? No, you're good?
Yeah.
All right. Just want to make sure. I need to ask my guests that more often because some of them I can like sense the nerves off of them.
I remember when I listened to the Nasser podcast.
Yeah.
It was the same thing.
Oh, it was rough for him.
Yeah.
That's why I did a whole like 5-minute meditation.
Yeah.
Literally in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah. I was driving. I would always listen to podcasts when I drive. And I was like, all right, let's go with it.
So you
and then the bell went off. I'm like, oh yeah, the podcast is still on.
So you just sat through the entire 5 minutes while driving. That's dope. One thing that I wanted to say at the beginning of the podcast is that you have been a very vocal supporter of it, and I appreciate it a ton.
That's right. It's quality.
Yeah, thank you so much. I remember it was either when I was like, when I teased the trailer for the podcast, or it might have been when I posted the Isaac podcast. You left like the sweetest comment on the podcast. I was like, Aidan, what a sweetheart.
It was just a good podcast. Usually, I remember, was it Isaac's and Nat's podcast that they made, or was it Isaac and Ayush?
It was Isaac's podcast, and then I think there were a couple of episodes where Nat and Ayush were on it.
Yeah, it was definitely not as high quality as this.
You don't have to dog on Isaac like that.
I just remember I enjoyed listening to my friends talk when I'm like not there, just like I can turn on their voice in a sense wherever I'm in.
Yeah,
and it was nice, but the quality wasn't as to par as this podcast.
Well, yeah, Isaac just did it off of his phone, which is perfectly fine.
It worked.
Yeah. But I did invest a little bit of coin into this.
Just a little bit.
Bit.
Dollar Tree helped a bit.
Quite a bit. Yeah. Like, here, you're into this kind of techie stuff, so I can run through. The cameras each were actually pretty cheap. Those were like $150. In fact, my grandpa bought them for me. I told him to just get some old used camcorders. Like, you can find some cheap ones that'll do the job for like $40. I was like, as long as it can record, I don't care what it is. As long as like I can get a video out of it, that's fine. But he went out and got like these fancy schmancy camcorders, which I appreciated a ton.
Sony HD.
Yeah, they're decent.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, and then but the rest of it was me. This recorder over here that I use, I use a Zoom H6. That was a $300 investment on its own.
But worth it.
Oh, worth it for sure. I used it for the YouTube channel for a bit before I got a new audio interface there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I use a Scarlett Solo, I think that's what it's called. But it's just like the simplest audio interface, and it low-key works a little better than this because this isn't meant to be like hooked up to a computer. It's more of like a record on its own thing.
Yeah, on-set type thing.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of productions use for audio recording.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like something that you could like take on the road with you and record it everywhere. But I like it because it's just like a small little thing that I can have to the side.
Yeah, most definitely.
And like the quality of it is really nice. Let's see here. Mike's got more Zoom products. Zoom ZDM, 2 Zoom ZDM 1 mics. They're just like little nice dynamic mics. They were cheap too, so I appreciated that. But yeah, like it's just like I put a lot of money into this because I do like the production and like making a high quality just production out of everything I do. And Aidan Tack, speaking of production, this is something that you're a little interested in too. I hear you take a picture or two.
I do take a picture or two. So I'll give you not really a backstory, but like my history of like photography.
Oh yeah. Yeah. How did you even start getting into that? Because I remember when I first met you. Well, we met through Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
and then you left for a while, and then after I quit, and then went to Marshall. you were there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, isn't that the kid I was in Boy Scouts with?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think you weren't into photography back then, were you?
A slight, not as serious I am right now.
So yeah, when did it start picking up?
Me and my dad, we have a very artistic sort of like bond.
Yeah.
Because my dad's an artist and he went to the Art Institute in Chicago for art, and he's a graphic designer right now.
Okay.
So I get a lot of my creativity and art prospects from him.
Mm-hmm.
We had maybe just like a little point and shoot Canon camera, nothing like, it was like $50 at like Walmart or something. And he would bring it around when we would go on, not hikes, but like family excursions, I would say. And we would just take pictures, and he would let me play with the camera. I would take pictures, do whatever. It was like everything was auto. You didn't have to mess with like the ISO or the f-stop or the shutter speed, stuff like that. So I was just taking pictures, and I saw what my dad was doing. I was like, all right, maybe I want to like try what he was doing.
Yeah.
After that, I just started going a little more. Fast forward to maybe 8th grade, when we went on to the DC and New York trip, I brought the same little camera.
Oh, okay.
There, I was a bit more like, okay, I'm going to take good pictures on the New York trip, and I'm going to have some stuff I can remember that are like quality. They were all right.
Yeah.
There wasn't like the best pictures I've taken ever.
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere, and you were like just getting into it, right?
Yeah, so I was just taking pictures here and there, and then after that, pretty much throughout like high school, I didn't like touch the point and shoot camera. I sort of just let it be, because I got a phone, and I got a phone like halfway into like freshman year. I was like, oh, this is cool. I can take pictures on my phone.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about phones these days, is that like there's certainly no like mirrorless or DSLRs, but they can take decent photos.
Yeah.
There's like the new Galaxy phone that you can literally take a picture of the moon, and
Insane.
And like a lot of cameras can't even do that.
Yeah, a lot of lenses, I would say.
Oh yeah, the true point.
Just
okay, you don't need to correct me.
My bad.
No, you're good,
so, I would say, like from freshman to, I would say maybe even like into junior year, I really didn't do much photography. I was sort of just mainly focusing on film, which is like what I'm like pursuing.
Yeah.
Then when COVID hit, I asked my film teacher, Mr. Owen, if I could just like loan a camera for like the summer, and he's like, yeah, sure. Gave me a camera over the summer, and I was taking videos mainly. I was making mainly like making YouTube videos on my own, just improving my video skills.
Yeah.
Then we went to, I think it was Sugar River.
Yeah.
With Isaac was the first place we went, and I've finally decided I'm going to take pictures with the camera.
Yeah, I remember you bringing the camera on that trip.
Yeah, so that was, I would say, my first time. That's when I like started taking pictures.
Oh, so that was like really early.
Yeah.
I thought you were like really deep into it like a lot before then.
Nope.
Dang, okay.
So,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, right? I've pretty much been doing photography like somewhat seriously, but I've just been like paying more attention to like what I'm taking for like a year now.
Yeah.
So from Sugar River till, I would just say until I went off to camp.
Yeah.
I was just like taking photography, like not too serious, but I was like, I made an Instagram account. I'm like working on a website. So like I'm doing stuff to like maybe put out portfolio and maybe like make it like a side hustle type thing.
At least like getting something out there. That's kind of what I did with my YouTube channel. I was still like, it was back in February when I like started it, because like I was still in school doing Rock Valley, right? So like I couldn't put all my time into it, but I was like, okay, I can do one video a week just for now until I can like put all my time into it. And then I eventually got like quicker at making videos, so I was like, okay, 2 videos a week. And then and that was just to get something out there, at least to be doing it, because like I could have waited until after school, but like outside of school I wasn't doing much, so I figured, you know what, might as well like get this started. Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, I was making like my New Year's resolution, I would say, was like to get my stuff out there, because I wouldn't post my stuff that much. I would just take it and sort of just look at it. And then when I created that Instagram account, I found out this editing software called Lightroom, Adobe, which I was like, before I was just like, I like the pictures how they are. And then when I touched Lightroom, I was like, the pictures suck when you first take them.
I was actually color grading some photos the other day. Some of like the tattoo pictures. I don't know if you saw what I posted on Instagram today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like those were just a quick color grade. I have some other pictures set up that I color graded, and like you compare the two. Like you look back at the original, and you, like before you color grade anything, you're like, oh, this is like a nice picture.
Yeah,
but after doing all the colors and all the lighting, it's like, oh,
it's so good.
This is nice. How did I look at the first picture and think that was good?
Exactly. So like at that point, I found out that photography was a 2-stage art process where it was you have to be artistic in the way you're taking the picture, and then you have to be artistic in the way you edit the picture. So I figured out how to use Lightroom more in depth throughout, I would say, just 2021. So starting January, I started like teaching myself how to like use the program really well. Applied to Covenant Point, which is the camp in Upper Peninsula, Michigan that I like going to. And I applied for the videographer position and canteen, which is like the merchandise sort of director. And I got the videographer position. And right before I went, the program director emailed me saying like, oh, the photographer dropped and he's not going to be able to come anymore. So the photography position is a bit more important because you have to post pictures every day for the parents. And like, if there's no pictures for the parents are like paranoid for some reason. I'm like, what?
Where are our kids?
Where are our kids?
It is a month-long excursion.
It is well, the camp. So right now the camp ends Friday.
Oh, okay. So did you come back early?
I came back early, yeah.
Dang, okay.
So it's from, I think I left, June 13th till August 15th is the whole camp.
Oh, wow.
And it was shorter because of COVID.
Yeah.
So it's even longer.
So is it usually like an entire summer thing?
Yeah.
Just about,
Whole summer. It's worth it.
I don't know if I could do something like that. I used to do a summer camp with my church, and that was just a week long.
Yeah.
And by the end of the week, it's like, okay, I've had enough environment for 1 week. That's enough for the summer.
So I was like, all right, Dustin, I can take the job. So I took photography instead of videography. I was going into it like a bit intimidated, but at the same time, I'm like, I knew what I was doing. I knew how to edit and take photos. So I was like, all right, I got this.
So this was like your first big like commission for photos.
I was pretty much like, this was a career I was taking on. Like, it feels weird because I felt like I've already started a career and now I'm going back to school in some sort of way.
Yeah.
So I go to camp. First week, I didn't know what I was doing very well. I was just taking pictures whenever I could take pictures, and then I would edit them at the end of the day, and I would make a post and do whatever. And then through each week, I saw my stuff get a lot better because I've learned, because I didn't have any internet, so I was just like, I'll just mess around with the camera for a little bit.
So a lot of it was just teaching yourself and figuring things out on your own. That's so dope.
All of it is learning by myself.
Yeah.
So I learned how to take better quality pictures. There's like a version where you can change the format of the picture to RAW instead of JPEG.
Yeah.
And that gives you way better pictures. And then in terms of that, I was able to upgrade Lightroom. So I was able to get some tips from that sort of upgraded version, or like Lightroom Plus in some sort of way. So I learned a bit more there. And then from there, I was able to effectively take pictures less and use more pictures, because what I was doing was I was taking like thousands of pictures a week, but only using like not even 200 of those pictures.
Yeah.
And then later I would say maybe 500, like half the amount, and I would use 200 to 300 of those pictures.
Yeah.
I found out that I was able to effectively take pictures at a good amount of time, and then edit them properly. And then after that, I would say from the beginning of camp to the end of camp, I've improved a whole lot with my photography.
Well, you kind of just immersed yourself in like the work there.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have internet. You were out in the wilderness, like, and like that was your job. That was what you were supposed to be doing. So you didn't really have a choice but to, commit yourself completely to the work.
Yeah.
That's so dope. And something I wanted to say about like the number of pictures is like, if you don't really know much about photography, like that's something you don't really realize, is that for every like 1 or 2 pictures, there's probably like 10, 20, or maybe even like 50 or 100 behind like that, were similar but never got shown.
Exactly. So on free time at camp, I would usually take tubing pictures, and tubing is a very chaotic thing.
Yeah.
Because you're going on a boat and the boat's bouncy, and the people on the tubes, they're bouncy, and there's water flying up. So I'm there with my telephoto lens, just I get back and I'm just like, I have like 600 pictures I gotta go through. And I like, at that point, you're only gonna use maybe 10 of those, because you don't want to like, oh, another tubing picture of this one group. Like, you've seen 50 of those already. So you have to pick like the best ones, like the wipeouts, the ones where they're all smiling.
Yeah.
Just, it's a very, also because I was the social media director.
Oh, yeah.
Because on the tech team, there's a photographer, videographer, and social media director. But I had to do both photography and social media. I'm doing a video right now. I'm editing a video for the camp. So sort of video. But social media is where you would have to like sort of organize and direct the business account on Facebook and Instagram. And it was pretty easy, because all I had to do was pick 10 pictures I like, copy and paste. Not paragraph, but like a schedule type thing in the description, and then make a post. That was it. But on a resume, it looks a lot better, because you're organizing and managing a business/company social media account. Yeah, you got a lot, like just from that one camp experience, you got a lot of stuff that you can put on your resume. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what kind of equipment did you have? First of all, was it like what you brought on your own, or did the camp provide it?
So the camp provides equipment, but it's not like the best equipment.
Yeah,
it's still like all right. So at the moment, right now, I still have my school's equipment.
Yeah.
Still haven't given it back. Please let me keep it. So it's a TI 5.
And that's a Canon?
EOS Rebel. And then I have a 50 millimeter, 18 to 55 millimeter, and then a 55 to 250 millimeter. So the 255 is a zoom lens, so that's what I would use for like tubing pictures, high ropes course, or like pictures that would be far away. I would usually use it for big games. And then my 50 millimeter is, I call it my nifty 50. It's a sort of artistic lens, so you get bigger bokeh. Bokeh is sort of like the circles and out of focus pictures. It would just be like a better way to take like an up close picture. And then my 18 to 55 was another zoom lens, but it was more of a wide angle. So if I want to get a shot with a lot of people in it, and I had a tight space, I would just use that. And then I also had a tripod. I had a Rode microphone. And then I have a personal phone gimbal, DJI Osmos 3. I use that for the video I'm editing right now.
Okay.
But other than that, I just used my camera and those 3 lenses, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so you just stuck to your camera rather than using a lot of what the camp had.
Yeah, the camp had a 18 to 55 millimeter lens and an EOS TI6 and TI5, so it was one generation older. But they didn't have the lenses. The lenses is what makes the camera worth it.
Yeah. No, and like, yeah, when getting into photography or videography, like that's like the equipment, you don't realize like how much goes into the equipment too. Like you have to get all these different lenses for like different scenarios, and dude, lens prices
don't even get me started.
Are so gnarly. I can't afford another lens. Nope. Like I've been wanting to, especially in like the camera I use for vlogging. I use a Canon M50. I just have the kit lens. I believe it's an 18 to 50 millimeter, something like that. 18 to 50, 18 to 45, around there. It's a decent lens. It's a good all around lens. But I'm trying to get like I think I'm trying to get a 20 or a 22 millimeter lens. And that's like good for vlogging. You get a nice wide angle and all that. But like just that one lens, it's this tiny little lens, 22 millimeters, $300 used.
What?
If you want to get a new one, it's like $400.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you like you have 3 different lenses. Did you buy any of those on your own? Nope. That's also the schools.
Everything is the schools except my Osmos 3 gimbal for my phone. I got that for a birthday present.
Oh, okay. So that's dope.
Haven't paid any money yet.
Yeah.
The only thing I've paid or like bought is a 64 gigabyte memory card.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because also for editing, you also need a better computer. All I had was a Chromebook at camp, and I was editing photos on a Chromebook. And that was annoying because you could only export 15 photos at a time. So exporting
especially when you're working with hundreds and hundreds of photos, that
took a long time.
That's tough. Yeah, I used to before I got my desktop, I used to do all my video stuff on my laptop, which in all fairness, it was decent for what it was. It had like a decent graphics card, a very old graphics card, but like it was better than like a Chromebook.
For sure.
Yeah, but even that was rough to work with. It can like later in its years, it could barely even run Premiere Pro. I remember me and Aidan and a few of other guys, we would occasionally do these competitions where we'd all get together, get into teams, and then we would each have have a subject or a premise for a video that was given to us by you had this like card set. Yeah. And then we'd have the day to record and put together a video. And I remember my first time doing that with you guys, I was trying to edit on my laptop and I literally couldn't do anything. It was such a struggle. So I had to edit the whole thing on my phone.
Yeah.
I ended up re-editing the video later when I had more time to when I could sit and wait for the video to buffer. Right? Yeah. It took forever. But yeah, all the technology behind photography and videography.
Yeah, videography.
I think earlier I said videography, and I was like,
it's the
same thing, but pronunciations, whatever. But yeah, just there's so many different levels to it that you just don't realize before going into it.
Exactly. I just got a new MacBook for college, and my gosh, is it a blessing?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people like to do editing with photos and videos on Apple products.
It's really nice. I was sort of I sort of want maybe a Surface Pro or a higher Lenovo sort of laptop. But I was like, the MacBook's fine. I can get it. It's not that the price wasn't as bad as some of the other ones that are a bit more expensive. So I was like, and my school's recommending it, so I was like, all right, I'll grab it, and I really like it.
Yeah.
So,
so what's your dream camera at the moment?
Oh, dream camera.
There's so many.
There's so many cameras. There's one camera that takes super smooth photos. It is, I think it's a Canon.
Yeah.
I really like Canon. Oh,
Canon cameras are really good.
Or is it a Sony? I think it's a Canon.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Okay.
But I think it's an A7 camera.
Oh, yeah. The Sony A7 series is so good.
The pictures, so smooth.
Yeah. If I invest in another camera after the M50, I definitely want a Sony A7 III's.
Yeah.
That's the move. The
videos.
It's so clean, and the colors,
insane.
I was just nerding out over cameras.
I know,
right? Maybe there's some other photographers out there who understand, but
yeah.
I'm sorry, guys, you just don't get it.
You had to be there.
Yeah. So, all right. So, camp. Did you have any So your position was photographer and social media manager. So did you get to do any actual camp activities while you were there?
Yeah. So
and before we get into that, could you scooch up to the mic a little closer? Get it nice up on it. The general rule of thumb is so make a fist and then make do a little that, and that's about how far away you want to get. So you don't have to. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, you don't have to be too mindful of it, but that's just the basic idea.
Alrighty, sounds
You
good.
just get that nice crisp voice.
Crisp.
Aidan Tack.
Aidan Tack. So, camp. All right. I'll give you sort of like a layout of a day. So there's 2 different positions at camp. There's crew and there's program.
Yeah.
And program staff pretty much do all the, what it's called program.
Yep.
And program is what's on the schedule most of the time. And crew is like the landscapers and the kitchen crew. So they just do work around camp just to make it look nice and have it run in a sense. So as a program staff, you are paired with a cabin. So there's counselors, and counselors are like people that take care of the kids in a cabin for the whole week. And they're like their mentor / like youth leader in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And you're paired with them as a program buddy, and you do activities with them. You help them set up stuff. You sit at meals with them. You go to worship with them. You're sort of just like the second counselor if the counselor is too busy, overwhelmed, or has to go somewhere else.
Okay.
So in the morning, you would go to this thing called First Word, and it was sort of just like the morning prayer that someone would do. And from there, you would do a bit of trivia, and whoever gets the trivia right would go up and get breakfast first. And
Survival
at breakfast,
of the fittest.
Yep, pretty much. You would just sit at breakfast, and you would eat with the cabin group, and the the counselors would go and have a meeting. You would take all the kids and you bring them back to the cabin for cabin cleanup. Somehow you have to persuade kids to clean up their stuff, which was very difficult.
Good luck with that.
I know, right? So from like the hardest kids were the elementary kids because they just wanted to like have pillow fights and just mess around all the time. And then middle school was like, are they going to clean today? Are they not going to clean today? It was always just like, we'll see what happens. And then for high school, it was, they wanted to clean. They wanted to win. Because if you win cabin cleanup, then you go to lunch first.
Oh, okay.
So everyone was like, we got to win. Come on, we're the best cleaners out here.
Like,
I like that. So I would just like sit and just like just watch the kids and do whatever. And then the counselors would come in, we'd bring them out. And then from that point on, we would do cabin group activities, we'd do play around and stuff like that. And then lunch, we would all eat together. The counselors would eat with us. They wouldn't have a meeting at that point. Then it was quiet time. So the counselors would go take like a nap with all the kids in their cabin. And I would have free time to myself. I'd be like, sweet. Or sometimes I would have to set up stuff that the counselors had ready for the next activity, which is cabin group activities. So the group had different options to pick from. So they were able to do whatever they wanted to do around the camp with safety rules, of course, put in place. And then what else was happening? Then it was free time. Free time is where the kids just can go wherever. They're staff members and they're just watched, and the counselors and us pretty much have free time. And that's when I was usually on the boat taking pictures.
Yeah.
Then it was dinner. Same old type thing. Pretty much the same thing as lunch. They would go after dinner, they would go to a meeting, and we would bring all the kids to this thing called the big field. So it was just like a big field by the dining hall. And we would just play with the kids until the counselors came back. And when they come back, we would have this thing called a big game. So it would range from like Braveheart, Despicable Me, stuff that kids would know. And we would just make it a big game around camp. And we had like a big intro, which was like a skit of some sort. So we would all like dress up. Like it was kind of goofy in some sort of way. And all the kids would get hyped and like, yeah, Braveheart, and like whatnot. And then finish that. We would have worship after that. And then the kids would go to sleep. And after that point, I would usually do work because the photographer has work to do after camp is done.
So how much time, like in one day, how much time would you say is you dedicated to working the cameras and doing all the editing?
Okay. So I would take pictures I wouldn't take pictures at breakfast. I would mainly start taking pictures after cabin cleanup. That's when we would have activities for kids to do, and there would be some kind of photogenic type of situation to take pictures of that would be worth taking pictures of. because I didn't want to like take pictures of kids just in their cabin cleaning. Like that's pointless. Or like kids eating at breakfast. Like what the heck?
Yeah.
Why would you need to do that?
You don't need photos of that.
So I would say taking photos in the morning, maybe in an hour.
Okay.
Not too much. And afternoon after lunch, that was sort of like a good chunk of the time taking pictures. I would say it could range from 2 to 3.5 hours for taking pictures.
Dang, okay. And that's all just taking pictures, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, well, also I would edit photos whenever I had a little free time.
Yeah.
So my office is like in the middle of camp between the big field and the waterfront. So if I was going to the big field, I would go to my office first, put some photos in, maybe edit 1 or 2 for 15 minutes, walk out, and go to the big field.
So whatever little time you had, you would get that in.
I would have like, I need this. It would help so much because like 15 minutes stacked up like 3 times or 5 times throughout the day.
Yeah, that's an hour.
Yep. That takes out so much time at the end of the day.
Yeah.
To like finish photos.
That's the same thing with like editing videos. Like if I can get like 15 minutes or a half hour in just occasionally, like that does add up. A whole video will take, if it's just like a regular gaming video, right? Like a decent one should take like 4 hours. On the lower end, it might take 2. Yeah. Yeah, just getting that time in is tough.
It is.
Yeah. So how much time would you spend editing? Because that's the part that takes a long time, right?
It does.
Because you have to go through all the photos, select the highlights, and then make each one look nice.
Yeah. So
I can hear the pain, Aidan.
Kids, so for elementary, kids would go to bed, like bedtime was around. I think they would all go to the cabin at 8, and then from that point on, they would slowly go to bed, hopefully bedtime around 10, so they weren't cranky in the morning. So from 8 till, I would usually go to bed at 11 or 12, or like that's when I would be done editing photos. So from 8 to 11 or to 12, so that was 4 hours to 3 to 4 hours of editing. But it's not only editing. It's downloading the pictures, picking the ones I like, and then taking those pictures and editing. Blah, 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 blah.
And then also editing them to the social media.
And then, editing them to social media.
Doing all the posts and all that. Yeah, that's something that I didn't realize would take up so much time too, was working all the social media, especially for the podcast. Because I wasn't planning on doing like TikTok and Instagram for the podcast, but I got into it and like
can't stop.
No, it's sorry. It certainly helped the podcast a lot, but like it eats up so much time making posts for each and every one and making sure that you're like formatting them right for the for each platform, and like working social media on top of doing all the photos and everything, that's got to eat up time.
It does eat up time. So there was, and then at the end, not the end of the week, but the day before the last day, you would have to get a slideshow ready for kids to watch. And I always like to like go above and beyond.
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna just put pictures and they would just go fade away after picture. I was having like 2 pictures at once sliding and like going crazy. I would make it spicy.
Get fancy,
so kids weren't like bored, and plus to like decrease the amount of time, because I would feel like if I would have 60 pictures in the slideshow, it would be like 10 minutes because I would show all the pictures. But I was able to like condense it down to, I think the longest I had was a 4-minute slideshow. But
oh really?
Yeah.
And that was the longest.
The shortest was a 1 minute, because that's family camp, and family camp you don't need to take many pictures.
Yeah.
But senior high is the thing that busts your balls. Because high school kids want energy and they don't stop. So you usually, for a regular schedule, you would have 1 big game a day. For senior high, you have 2. 1 in the morning, 1 at night. And there was one day, I think we had 3, where it was 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and then 1 at like dark. So it was like flashlights and stuff.
Oh yeah, was that tough to take pictures in?
I didn't take pictures. Like, I won't
just skip that. Yeah, and like especially if it's in the dark and there's not really good lighting, it's hard to get a decent photo out of that.
Yeah, you would use flash, but at the same time, it was just like, never mind. And then so you have 2 big games, and big games are like good picture moments.
Yeah.
Like the kids are active, they're doing stuff. There's like paint, there's color, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So that's a lot of pictures.
Yep.
Bedtime was not at 8, it was at 10 or 9. So kids wouldn't go to bed until that time.
So that cuts into your editing time too.
And don't forget, I still have to program Buddy with my counselor.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the counselors could be a part, like maybe the villain in the big game. So I have to be with the cabin, like walking with them for like the big game, so they don't get lost, or it's like the rule or whatever. So then I couldn't sneak away from the big game and go edit. I would have to be with the kids. So the night before the slideshow, I had to stay up really long to get this done. So I had to go through 1,338 photos.
Sorry, what was that number again, Aidan?
1,338 photos.
And this was for a week or for a day?
This was 2 days.
2 days.
This was a collection of photos in 2 days. I had to go through all of them. I found 300 of those photos I liked. Then the edit 300 photos. And then after that, I had to.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Tornado warning.
I just got it too.
There we go. Hold on. Is it like actually out and about, or is it just like, are they just looking out for it? Or is it, I don't know.
Who cares?
Well, we're in the basement anyway, so we're fine.
We're
we're still, hold on, let me peek out the window. Oh, I forgot I taped that side down.
Wait, this is a window?
Yeah, look at that. Oh, there's a big old leaf in the window. It doesn't look bad out there. Okay, close that up.
We fine.
Yeah, we're fine. We're in the basement.
Yeah. So then I had to pick out of the collection of photos I took throughout the whole week of what I wanted to post. I mean, not post, but make it in a slideshow.
Yeah.
So at that moment, when I was editing the slideshow or started doing the slideshow, was 3 a.m.
Oh.
5 a.m. hits. I look at the clock and I look at the slideshow and I'm like, well, I have to be up. I have a small group I'm directing, because in senior high you have small groups that you run. So I had a small group in the morning, and I was also in a skit.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, I need maybe like just a 3 to 2 hour nap.
Yeah.
And then I'll be fine. Woke up at 10 a.m.
So did you miss your thing?
I missed both of those.
Oh, that's
and
rough.
at the same time, I didn't finish the slideshow because the kids leave at 1 that day. So I stayed up until 5 editing a slideshow. I got halfway through to wake up and miss the skit and my small group, to then just see them leave and ask where the slideshow is. And I was just like, I am sorry. I've failed.
That's got to be sad, but
it was the low of the camp.
Yeah,
I couldn't have. I was terrible.
Yeah, no, the word that like literally this week, that was something like there were a couple of days where I couldn't get videos done, and it was probably like the worst time of my life ever, because I kind of have a goal of I want to get like a video done every single day, whether that be a video for my main channel or just get a podcast done. It doesn't matter, as long as it's one a day. I feel good. But as soon as I miss a day, or in this case I missed 2 days in a row, that was like, that's tough. That is a very tough feeling.
But also you become like really good friends with a lot of the staff there, of course, because you're living with them. So the sort of the reason I was like I was staying up late a lot of the time is because friends would come into my office and we would hang out and we'd do stuff, or I would like, I can finish this in the morning, because I knew I had time in the morning that I could finish it, so I would finish it in the morning. But I would like, at night is when I would be able to hang out with people. And senior high week, wait, no, was it senior high week or was it junior high? Oh no, it was junior high, never mind. But one of those weeks, I'm pretty sure it was a couple of my friends' last day at camp, because there was a half summer option for it because of COVID. So you could have worked half summer at Point, and then at Harbor. There are like 2 camps that are like connected in some sort of way. So 2 of my friends, like close friends, left, and it was like their last week. So like at night, I was like, let's go do stuff, like crazy stuff, and like not party, but like break the rules.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's be rebellious in some sort of way. But from that point on, I just like didn't do as much work as I should have, but I still got good praise for like what I did at camp. I wasn't like, oh, Aiden's a bad photographer.
Yeah, no, it's not like director. You completely blew it off. It was just like,
I could have taken just a bit more photos, but I didn't, and then it was fine. They didn't realize anything.
Yeah,
we got away with it. But yeah, so like also it was friends that would also interrupt. Those times, and I definitely took the friends over my work. At that point, I'm just like, I only got like 2 months with you guys. So
no, that's kind of my mindset with the summer too. Like I do have that goal of 1 video a day, but like we just graduated high school and everyone's moving off to college, so like I do want to spend as much time as I can with my friends and everyone who's leaving before that. So I get that idea of just wanting to kind of blow off work, and not necessarily blow it off, but like it's not really the priority quite yet.
Yeah, and from like COVID, well, not I guess it was from like what I experienced in COVID. I just found that I have I value my friends in like a different way after that sort of experience. To where I want to be outside with my friends, or I want to get outside of the house and like hang out with people instead of just be inside by myself. So.
That's a little bit of why I do the podcast the way I do too, is that like I do appreciate people more now than I have like ever in the past. Like, just appreciating people more and wanting to bring people on and talk to them on the podcast, get their viewpoints, get like what their passions are, and whatever it is, just bring other people on, because like just people are you kind of take people for granted all your life until you realize, oh wait, we're all just one giant superorganism trying to work together. Each individual is like a part of this collective, and each of us, like a weird thought to have is like walking down the street and just realizing, oh, everyone I'm passing by is another individual with passions, with dreams, with goals. They have a past. They've had friendships. They've had relationships. They've had hard times. And you pass these people by and you just have no idea, but there's so much history in every single person that you walk by.
It's insane.
Yeah, I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but
That's deep, though.
But just realizing, that is one good thing that came out of COVID though, is just like this realization, like, oh, people are actually really important.
Yeah, because at camp, well, I'm gonna be talking about camp a lot.
Oh yeah.
But I would read a devotional at camp, and I read a movie devotional. So it takes a movie and breaks it down into some kind of scripture. And there was one about family, on how family could be your blood or it could be non-blood in some sort of way. And I've realized that I've created such a passion for like a non-blood family with like wherever I go. So like I've created such like a devout family at camp that I now can carry with me into Chicago, because a lot of them are from Chicago. So I have like a family already in Chicago in some sort of way.
Oh, that's so dope.
And then like here in Rockford, I have plenty of people I hang out with. I hang out with you and like Isaac's friend group, and then I hang out with they're juniors now. I think like Alex Cruckton. I hang out with like his group. And it's sort of just like I just bounce around because I just want to be with people. A lot, because my family sort of just like fell apart in some sort of way.
Yeah. Is that something you want to talk about at all?
Yeah, I can talk about it.
Yeah. I don't really even know how to ask that. Do you want to just like go over it a little bit?
Yeah, I can go over it. So I would say up until COVID, I was living a pretty happy family life. Like just normal, nothing crazy. I had siblings. We just did normal family things. We went on a vacation here and there, and nothing big. But 3 years before COVID, I'm like, me and my dad were like really close.
Yeah.
Like we would do things together. We would go to the movies together. We would go to card shops. We would go to tournaments. We'd do whatever together.
Yeah.
We were like, I was his sort of image in some sort of way. Like he put the most of his passion into me. And from that point, I started to like learn his sort of not moods, but I would say I would know his motives and how he would act as a person.
Yeah.
And in like a period of time from that point, 3 years until COVID, I sort of started to change a bit in some sort of way.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're doing things you said you don't like doing, and you're sneaking away a bit more than usual.
Yeah.
And this is odd. You don't do this much. Because there's like times where he's not like much of a phone person. He would like, usually if we were together and someone would pull out their phone, like, put it away. Let's like be together as a family. I'm like, yep, I understand.
Yeah.
But there was times when he would pull it out during a family activity. I'm just like, you hypocrite.
Yeah, that's something he usually doesn't do before.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm just like, And my dad, I don't know why he does this, but he doesn't lock anything. So his car could be in Chicago, like doors open, he'll be fine.
Really? I would not.
House unlocked on Auburn Street.
I would never trust like that.
His phone, no password. Just have it.
That man is living.
So
he lives different.
He lives different. I could not live like that.
I know.
So I sort of like it though, because like when he's like not at his house on Auburn Street, I can just like go into his house.
You can just show up.
I'm like, hey guys, we can go to my dad's house. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh. But so I was like, maybe I'll go through his phone. So I go through his phone and I see some like texts. I'm just like, that's kind of odd. I'm like, whatever. I wasn't really thinking much about it because in my mind, this could never happen.
Yeah.
Because it was like 20 plus years in their marriage. And I was like, nothing's going to happen. COVID hit and found out my dad's been cheating on my mom for 3 years.
Fuck.
With an ex he had from high school.
Damn.
And I was like, really? Like, why? How could you do that? Like at this late in sort of the relationship, like my dad could have gone to marriage therapy before this. Like his solution was to cheat, not to like fix it. And in terms of that, I chose to stay with my mom. I didn't like choose because my dad would take the kids for a week and my mom would have the kids for a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to go to my dad's house for that week. I'm going to stay with my mom.
Yeah.
Because my mom at the time, she didn't have a job because she was a stay-at-home mom. And my dad was making all the money. And because of COVID, that situation got rattled and we didn't know what to do because my mom didn't have a job. My dad did have a job, but he wasn't able to pay child support because he was getting a new house.
Yeah.
And he was like, the job he has is not like, doesn't pay extremely well. So at that point, I was like, all right, I got to do something about this. So I tried to apply for camp.
Yeah.
And I got the job. And then it got canceled because COVID.
So this was last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was initially going to go to camp last year, but that got canceled. So I had to find a job really quick.
Yeah.
And I picked up landscaping. And what I did is I worked 50-hour weeks. And then on the weekend, I would do a side job, which would maybe go to 10 hours max. So I would work 60 hours a week. All that money would go to my mom's mortgage.
Yeah.
And then my mom got a job at Costco, which is all right. It's an hourly job. It's not a salary job. So she is fine, stable now. I don't have to pay her as much as I did in the past. But from like that point on, I realized that like coming home after every shift or like 10-hour workday that I would have and just having my mom like emotional and like complaining to me about what my dad did, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Like to come home with such kind of like heaviness. And I was just like, I feel for your mom. I'm here. Like I'm not going away.
But that is a lot for you to handle too.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, I need to branch out.
Yeah.
So that's where I found Alex, and that's when I started hanging out with friends more. So I would work 10 hours, and then at the end of the day, I would hang out with friends till like midnight. And I would wake up at 6, go back to work.
Yeah.
And I would just hang out with friends as much as possible, because my family was just clashing at the moment.
Yeah.
It's still clashing, but I've been able to it's better. It's not as bad as it was before. But I've been able to, like you said, make a non-blood family. That's why I went to camp, and I isolated myself from everything else. All I knew and all I heard about was camp. I didn't call my parents for the 2 months I was up there. I didn't text anyone. I didn't look at social media. I was just at camp, and that was like very positive for my soul in some sort of way. So yeah, I guess that's what I've been through.
Yeah. Shit, dude. I don't even. Well, first of all, I'm sorry that sucks.
I know, right?
That's, dude. I'm kind of shaky right now at the moment. I just, dude, just stories like that kind of mess with my head so much. But dude, I appreciate you sharing that on the podcast so much. Like, I'm sure like there's a bunch of other people listening who do kind of relate to that, and like. And in all fairness, like to see you like come out on the other side of it, like you seem to be doing really well.
I'm fine.
And like through that, you did like develop closer relationships with friends, or I would even say like you developed like an even stronger work ethic with like doing landscaping, and then over the summer, like this deep photography dive.
Yeah.
So yeah, like.
Like, I'm grateful for that moment. Like, it gave me a work ethic that I wouldn't have got from not doing that.
Yeah, dude, I don't really even know what else to say, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. I didn't even, I heard like little tidbits over the years, and like I remember on our way back from Sugar River, we talked about it, like the tiniest little bit, but I never really got the full story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, good for you for like having a good mindset and coming out on top of it, really. Yeah. Would you say that you're still like close to your dad, or not really at all?
Not much anymore. I'm pained about how close we got and how fast we grew apart.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to be living with his parents in college, because they live just right down the street from my college, so I'll be hopefully maybe drawing a bit closer to my dad, but because I know I'm his favorite child in some sort of way.
Yeah.
So I distance myself as much as possible from him, just so he knows that he's not doing this painlessly.
Yeah.
Where he's not going to be, I'm going to cheat and be fine. I'm going to still have everything. And nothing would be.
Yeah, because that's not okay still.
So this is like his punishment in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And it's also like, it's not a punishment to me anymore, because like I said, I've been able to branch out.
Yeah.
But not having my dad in some sort of way feels different, because I don't have much of a father figure in some sort of way. So when I was at camp, there was a family camp was like very different and emotional for me, because I would like interact with dads. I'm like, I really miss this some sort of way. And like the first family that I hosted, it was just a mom and 3 kids, and the husband was at work already, because he was a principal at a school, and he just like had the start right now.
Yeah.
And she was like bummed about it, but at that moment I was able to like do what I've been always doing for like the past year, was to like be somewhat of a father figure to like the kids.
Oh, that's so like, yeah, that's so cool. Just like kind of taking on that role for yourself, and like, just filling that role.
And yeah, so like if my dad calls me, I don't say much.
Yeah.
He just like, how's it going? I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
He's like, what you doing? I'm like, not much.
Yeah. I can imagine it's tough to like look at him the same way.
Yeah. It's gonna take a while for me. But I want him to make the first move in some sort of way. Because if he's not trying to actively reach out to me, then I'm not going to actively try to reach out to him.
Yeah, you want to know that like that he actually cares, and that he is willing to make the effort.
Yeah, if he calls me once, like every 2 months, then I don't see the point of it.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, here let's move on to another topic.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your future plans, Aidan. So you're going into film,
Yes.
and where are you studying?
So I'm going to be studying at Columbia College in Chicago, and how the major works is that you major in film or media production, and then you pick a focus at that point. So you focus. What I'm going to be focusing on is post-production, and then from the first semester or first year you're at Columbia, then you can pick your major. So I'm going to be focusing on post-production.
Yeah.
Post-production is editing, sound design, color grading, color design, all that kind of stuff.
All that.
And there's 3 areas of production. There's pre-production, production, and post. And from what I've been doing in the past and what I found that I have like a lot of grit and passion for is post. So I guess from that point, I want to then maybe hopefully branch out to different companies from that point and edit videos, trailers, movies, films, whatever I need to get my hands on first. And my end goal is to somehow end up at Pixar.
Okay.
I want to end up at Pixar and edit for them or do anything for them.
Yeah.
Whatever they want me to do, I'll be there.
Yeah, as far as animated films, Pixar is like top of the game.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, just like Pixar and Disney, like those movies. I was watching Raya the Last Dragon. I know that's not Pixar, but like
it's still Disney.
Yeah, it's still like a Disney thing, but I was watching Raya the Last Dragon. There's like this opening scene where it's like I don't know what to call it. It's sort of like not really a podium, but like it was this stone pillar thingamajig, and it just looked like rocks.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's animated. It's not supposed to look quite like rocks, but it just looks like rocks. Or there's one scene in Toy Story. This is Pixar. Toy Story 4 actually. There's this scene of a cat, and it's just stretching, but for that 1 second that is stretching, the cat just looks like a cat. It's like they got the lighting and like all the little hairs that are popping out. It's like how did you make this cat look like a cat? It looks like I could reach into the screen and pet it, and it would like run away because it's a cat and it wants to go like murder a mouse or something. Dude, yeah, that would be dope to work for them.
Like, one thing that goes, I think that's like their secret. I like their secret sauce, and I like to think is that since Pixar, since Toy Story, and every movie, each movie that they've done up, I would say until like Pixar 4, that's when they were like pretty. They know how to like
Toy Story 4.
You said
Pixar 4.
Toy Story 4. Let's go.
All good.
And until Toy Story 4, they have been working on how to animate. So like, for example, in Nemo, they learned how to animate water. And you didn't really know that because the whole movie was in water. But from that movie, they learned how to animate water better, and they have softwares for it now. And then maybe something like Bug's Life could have been for more of a earthy sort of texture or like animation style. And then Toy Story could have been a bit more of a toy-like sort of stiff style.
Yeah.
So each movie they've done, they learn how to animate different physics and textures each movie until Pixar 4. Dang it!
You did it again.
Toy Story 4.
Pixar just is Toy Story.
It just is. Where they like brought it all together and they like made somewhat of a masterpiece. Toy Story 4. Okay, I said it right. Toy Story 4 is not a masterpiece, but it's still amazing of like what they've done.
Dude, like visually, that movie is just so like. I think like as far as animated movies go, it's like probably the best looking animated movie today. Like just the way the different toys shine and the different textures of the toys and the grass and the cat. I just like maxed out the mic. Oops. The cat. The cats. Like just all those different things. Like obviously it doesn't look real, but like it looks good.
It looks really good.
So you would want to be behind like the editing and the just all the post production on that.
Just
team?
any post. Well, and it's really different for animation because it doesn't really go. Well, yeah, it still has pre-production and then post because pre is the story writing, storyboarding, like casting, and then production is the voice recording of people, and then the post is like animation.
So would you
editing.
do any sort of animation or mostly like color grading and I wouldn't, all the editing?
I don't think I'm going to dabble in animation.
Yeah.
For me, it's a art form that I don't know if I technically have the patience for.
Yeah.
Editing in itself has a lot of patience.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But I'm patient enough with editing. Other than animation, I feel like I'm different because with editing, I can sort of see where I want to go.
Yeah.
I can like have an idea of what my end goal is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm not like just doing whatever.
But
with animation, you're going to make something up that you have to figure out in some sort of way, or you're going off like 3 or 5 frames of like sketches of like how the character is supposed to move, but you have to make 60 frames of that out of 5 of those like note cards or whatever they have for you. So it's this patience and like art that I don't think I'm going to be as interested in.
Yeah, but you just jive with editing in a way that you don't really like have a passion for with like animation or anything around that.
And then animators all want to go to Pixar. So
I feel like it's tough competition in that field.
Competition already probably exceeds what I would want to do for that. But I have the drive to be a great editor, so I'll take any competition.
Dude, I believe you. And like the stuff that I've seen from you so far, just like the little like the video competitions that we do, like your stuff is good. And like you just started getting into like all the Adobe products, right?
Just downloaded it yesterday.
Yeah, like and you used to edit everything on iMovie before, and like I know that software is very limiting, dude. Yeah. Once you get into Premiere Pro, I'm telling you, you're gonna love it.
Can't wait.
It is a little complex, but once you get into it, it's like,
you become smooth with it.
Yeah, it's just like like the softwares that Adobe puts out, whether it is Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro, they're just so like they're not easy programs by any means, but if you know what you're getting into, like it's a very fluent process of making videos or photos. So with all this experience that you got in photography over the summer with the summer camp, do you see photography playing a role in your career in the future?
Yeah, most definitely. What I want to do is what they say after your first semester or first year, you can pick a minor, and I would want a minor in photography.
Okay.
There's money in photography, but not like a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So it's harder to get like a foot in the world with photography in some sort of way because if let me see, statistically, photography, majority of photographers only get the same salary as a McDonald's worker.
Oh, really?
So you have to be like a 1 in a million kind of like dude because everyone is a photographer now with phones. So you have to be unique. You have to be one of a kind. You have to make yourself rare in some sort of way. I feel like I can make myself rare, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue working on it. It's a big passion of mine. Like after camp, I was craving photos. After 3 days, I was like, I need my photos to edit. I need to take photos.
Yeah.
So I see myself like engaging and wanting to take more photos. So I'll be wanting to learn. Definitely it would be a great side hustle because if you want to do wedding photography, like, hey, I can go to a wedding for a day, take photos, get paid $4,000, and then get out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great side hustle.
Yeah, photography is like an interesting one because like there's like a specific way to take a good picture, but there's also like I don't know how to explain it, but there's also ways to be artistic with it. There's this one, I think I follow exactly one photographer other than you. All right. There's only one. I follow 2 photographers, Aidan Tack and this Japanese guy. I don't even know his name, but like you can tell that he has a very distinct style and like the way he colors everything. It's like it's very distinct. I don't know how to describe it, but like just his style is like you don't find it in anyone else. Mm-hmm. It's not just a good picture, it's his good picture.
Yeah, that's where it gets hard because you want to make yourself like no other person. Because what I like to think is that if you go to like a national park, there's going to be spots where they're like photo-esque.
Yeah.
But people have taken millions of pictures in the same sort of way in the same spot. I always want to try to figure out like how can I take this picture differently?
Yeah.
And that's sort of where it makes like, oh, that's Aidan Tack's photos.
Yeah.
That's that person's photos. You have to make yourself like a one-of-a-kind photographer where it's very hard because photos are everywhere. There's a photographer like across the street.
Yeah.
What the heck? So yeah, like I know what you're saying. There's definitely like different styles. Like people can be minimalistic with their photography. They can be chaotic with their photography. They can be colorful, monochromatic. They can be saturated. They can be vintage. They can be less saturated. Like it's so wide and vast of like what you can do.
Yeah. Well, Aidan Tack, we are over an hour now. Is there? Yeah, and the tornado didn't hit. What the heck? What the heck?
Tornado survivors.
It would have been. It would have been a very exciting podcast if a tornado hit.
It'd be like,
I also exactly. I also probably wouldn't be able to put it out because it would just suck up all my equipment.
Yeah, it would just.
There would be no podcast, but it would be a fun one.
It would be a very twisty podcast.
Well, is there anything you want to leave people with?
Check out my photography account on Instagram.
Yep. How do you spell that, or what's the name of that?
Perspective. So
Tax Perspective on Instagram.
On Instagram.
So follow that. And do you do photos for people?
I do photos for
people. Yeah. So if you wanted a photographer to do some photos for you, this man, I'm telling you, he is a one-of-a-kind photographer in Rockford. I trust this man.
That's right.
With photos. So if you want some photos, get it from this man
right here.
Tax Perspective on Instagram. Anything else you need to plug?
My YouTube channel, Aidan Tack. I might be posting some higher quality videos sooner or later since I have a new editing software.
So yeah.
You might see some better stuff.
I'm very excited to see what you do with Premiere.
Yeah, right.
That'll be like, it's like, yeah, just seeing iMovie, like what you've done with iMovie, and then I'm just excited to see. Yeah. So Tax Perspective on Instagram. I've said it like 5 different times, and I'm gonna say it again. Tax Perspective on Instagram and Aidan Tack on YouTube. Make sure you follow those. And anything else, Aidan?
Live life to the fullest.
Live life to the fullest. Hey, well, thank you so much for being on, Aidan. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it a ton.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for listening. Bye, everybody.